Greetings, listeners, and welcome back to another episode of this freaky show. I am your host, Travesty, and alongside me
is the Freak Joe.
This evening we're going to continue along with our haunted celebration of the spooky season that is Halloween. We're going to talk about horror movies that are coming out in 2024, and the Freak Joe and I will give a rating of what we think it will be. Yeah, that's all I got.
I love it. I'm excited.
You know, I feel like I get the voice a lot better in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Like I haven't quite lubricated the voice like well enough. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I feel like I really got a cough because I haven't broken anything up yet.
Yep.
But the month of October has gone by really, really quick this year. And I'm not sure why we're already October 21st as we record this episode.
I know, it's nuts.
Yeah. It's sad because it is almost over, because it is my favorite month and everything. But it's amazing because of all the content we have been able to release, not only here in our audio platform, but also over on our YouTube channel. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you go to Freaknet Studios over on YouTube and check out all our amazing cemetery vlogs that Joe and I did over the course of our Wisconsin trip. I believe as of right now, there are 8 of 10 that have been released. The other 2 will be released this coming week with a quick little bonus of vlog released on Halloween of a couple extra places we checked out while we were up in Wisconsin. So if you enjoy listening to us talk about spooky things, then maybe you'll enjoy watching us talk about spooky things as we physically visit these haunted cemeteries throughout Wisconsin. As well as the Indiana and Illinois ones we did previously, and those playlists are also available over on our Freaknet Studios YouTube channel. Make sure you do subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when those videos are coming out. Joe, like I mentioned, I want to kind of talk about the horror movies that are coming out in 2024. That's kind of a norm for us during this freaky show to kind of talk about the horror movies that are coming out the following year. Granted, I'm not a big horror movie fan, but you don't mind the horror movie now and then, do you?
I love a horror movie. I don't get to watch them very often because my wife does not like horror movies. Actually, it's not even that she doesn't like them. She just has a very vivid, how do I want to put it, dreamscape that's very influenced by whatever she watches before bed. So you can't watch a horror movie during the day. It just isn't right.
Yeah. No, I don't know why I can't enjoy certain horror movies. I know I've talked about it here about like why certain horror movies freak me out, and I think it's because like it's more of like the reality ones that could freak me out. But it's not entirely true because I don't honestly believe in this. Well, without having proof, I guess I can't believe in it, but like I don't think anyone is going to enter my dreams and kill me in my sleep.
Right.
But Nightmare on Elm Street is something that freaks me out to the point of not trying. I'm not a defenseless teenage girl, so I don't know why I can't watch Scream. I don't own dolls, so I don't know why child play freaks me out. I don't.
You could own dolls though.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. I actually do have a closet full of vintage dolls that me and my mom bought up to resell. So I guess technically I do. So if John Wayne ever wants to come to life and try to shoot me with a little toy gun, like in the like Toy Story, or what's the one where the soldiers come to life?
Toy Soldiers.
Toy Soldiers, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Indian in the Cupboard, I guess, could be a good, which is also a fantastic movie that I have not seen in such a long time.
I can't remember the last time I watched that movie. I hope it holds up.
I feel like it has to. I think they made a sequel, though, and if they did, I'll never watch that.
Same.
Yeah. But I do want to talk about some of the horror movies that are coming out. I found a list of the top 15 that are coming out next year, and we'll run through those and we'll give our ratings. I'm not sure how our rating system was last year, but I don't know, maybe we'll just make one up. Who cares? We don't really follow up on them. I don't think we've ever done that, but whatever.
No, I don't think so either.
Nah. But our true listeners know. The true listeners would understand. And of course, we have another story from the Freak Joe, or Freaky Tales, will be read at the end of this episode. But before we dive into any of that, I want to remind you all that this episode is brought to you by CarterComics.com. It's your one-stop shop for all your comic needs, whether it be graded or raw. Carter Comics has got them all. All you gotta do is go to CarterComics.com, check out their amazing site, fill your cart up with all their amazing products. And at checkout, use the discount code FREAKNET, that's FREAKNET. You'll save 10% on your entire order. Not just at their website, but also on their 4 different eBay accounts. Links to all those can be found on their homepage at CarterComics.com. Now, if you go to the website, if you go to the eBay accounts and you start seeing products you like all over the place, reach out to them, tell them, hey, I went through all these places, I found all these comics, but I'd like to buy them all together. They will work with you on it. Excuse me. As a mom and pop shop, it's awesome that they're able to do things like that. You know, these bigger brands and everything. It's like, well, if you see it here, you got to buy it here. And if you see it here, now, at CarterComics.com, they will work with you to buy everything as a bundle and ship it to you as a bundle. Plus, our discount code of 10% off using FreakNet will work with that as well. So check out CarterComics.com. Again, it's your one-stop shop for all your comic needs.
Nice.
Thanks, man.
Great place. Good sponsor of ours.
Love it. It is the best sponsor. I mean, I don't want to take away from anyone else, but it has been the best sponsor we have had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what a good service. What a good service they provide. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I've grown to appreciate Dr. Doug and his wife as like it's like family to me. Like like they're there for me and they also give me money.
Yeah, nice.
But no, they are fantastic, and shout out to them. Hoping they're enjoying the spooky season as much as we are. And yes, thank you for everything you do for us, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to do these cemetery vlogs that we have been doing. It's been fantastic. And also, thank you for allowing us to sleep in separate hotel rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It is a perk.
Oh, yeah, it's wonderful. Not that I wouldn't mind sharing a hotel room with you, Joe, but I know my snoring will keep you awake, and I don't want to do that to you. Plus, I like sleeping naked. I'm not going to change that.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
I will say, though, I do not like the fact that our hotel rooms are on completely, like, opposite parts of, like, the hotels.
Yeah, that was weird.
I would love, like, if a hotel, like, if I booked 2 rooms in a hotel, that you would put those rooms next to each other. You know?
It'd be convenient.
Yeah, that way, like, you know, if I wanted to, you know, go grab breakfast and see if you wanted to go grab breakfast, I come over and knock on your door instead of, you know, walking down the stairs away from everything just to, it's like, no, I'm not doing that. Especially like first thing in the morning when my back is already killing me. Plus, if you're right next to me, I wouldn't walk into the wrong room, you know, by accident. Again, shout out to that family that I walked into the wrong room of on our last trip. And that story is told on one of our previous episodes. You go check that out.
Mm-hmm. That was wild. I can't believe that happened.
I know, and I'm glad I haven't heard from anything about that. Fandango.com released top 15 horror movies that released in 2024. Joe, I'm just going to read you the name of the movie, when it's going to be released. I don't think it really cares who's starring in it, who's directing it, and all that. I'm just going to read you a brief synopsis of, well, at least the description that they have on here. And I don't know what do you think our rating system should be? Maybe we should let's create a ratings.
Good question.
I mean, I think I have a rating system, but it would really work more for you because you're the horror movie guy.
What's your rating system?
So mine would be Freaky Scream, as in I would love to go see it, or Freaky Dream, which will probably put me to sleep, so I'll pass.
All right, I like that. I like that a lot. I was just going to rate it on a scale of bats. So,
Ooh.
like 1 to 5 bats or something.
Well, I'll let you choose. What would you want?
I like Freaky Scream, Freaky Dream. That seems great.
Gotcha. Right, it's kind of like the Corona thing.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that. And I'll participate too. Like I said, even though I'm not a big fan of horror movies, maybe one will pique my interest. I have seen Saw. So, and what's that? White Noise? Is that the one?
That sounds right.
That's the one. Like, is that the one where we all watched it together? Like at our parents' house, like a long ass time ago, and like we thought it said it was based on a true story. And we believed it until we saw there was an alternate ending.
No, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, it's like, there's a movie, and I'm pretty sure it's White Noise, where like they have a video camera in like their bedroom, and it videos them like it's like basically shot like a vlog. And like while they're sleeping, shit happens like in the middle of the night.
Is that different from Paranormal Activity?
That's what I'm thinking of. There we go. Thank you. Paranormal Activity. Is that the movie that we saw as a group at our parents' house?
I really genuinely don't remember.
Okay.
Sorry.
I just remember. I remember. No, you're fine, man. Hey, don't apologize for nothing. I don't know if that's an oxy. I don't know if that's even.
No, that works.
Whatever. Yeah. It pans out. I just remember there was a movie we watched like as a group. It was like I think it was like you, Houston, Michael, Ashley, me, Sherry, I think Corinne, Derek, maybe Jason. It was like a big group of us watching this movie. And I'm pretty sure it's Paranormal Activity. And I remember us like, talking like, oh, it's based on a real story or based on true events and blah, 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 blah. And then the movie plays out and at the end it's like, they do the credits and then after the credits it's like, alternate ending. Like, what?
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Paranormal Activity. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay.
Yeah,
so,
Paranormal Activity has 3 super scary alternate endings according to this title, headline.
Perfect. Based on true events, but it ended differently. Excellent. Fantastic. First movie on the list here, we have Night Swim. We've heard many of horror movie characters warn, don't go into water at night, but those are usually about open bodies of water. In Night Swim, the aquatic terror haunts a backyard swimming pool. Night Swim is produced by James Wayne and Jason Blum, so you know you're in for a scary good time. So, Night Swim. It's to be released January 5th, 2024.
Gotcha. I've seen this one on a lot of lists of horror movies for next year. I have not seen the trailer. But I don't know. I'm torn because it sounds like something that could be very fun because we always grew up with a pool.
Yeah.
So on that front, I want to be like, Freaky Scream. But on the other hand, it seems like it's going to be one of those scary movies that's just about like teenage girls doing teenage girl bullshit. And there's nothing wrong with that if you like it, but it's not generally for me, which makes me want to say Freaky Dream. Yeah. So I think I'm going to land on Freaky Dream. I'm probably not going to go see it, but if it shows up on my TV, I'll watch it.
Yeah, I'm in the Freaky Dream side of it just because the idea of drowning is very real with me. Like, I know how to swim, but like when you're like in an ocean and like either like a wave or a current could take you or some, creature in the water could snag you, boats, not a huge fan of. It's more so because of what you can't see. So I think the idea of like a clear pool is it's not really intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
to me. And like I said, like, where they talk about, like, oh, like, you know, you're always afraid of, like, the bodies of water. This is a pool. I'm like, a lot of pools you just stand up in.
Right.
And you kind of, like, walk away. So, I probably would never see it just because it doesn't sound entertaining to me, but it'll definitely be Freaky Dream just because,
Yeah.
nah. Let's do Imaginary. Set to release February 2nd, 2024. The thing about imaginary friends is they're supposed to be imaginary. One woman's old imaginary friend never quite got the message. When the woman returns to the house where she grew up, she discovers that her childhood imaginary friend is actually real and really, really upset about being abandoned all those years ago. That actually sounds kind of fantastic. I think I'm going to freaky scream on that one.
Yeah. I'm kind of the same. I have a soft spot for imaginary friends stories because of Drop Dead Fred, I think.
Gotcha.
Watched that a lot as a kid. So, yeah, I'm in freaky scream.
Right? Because it almost has like that spirit ghost vibe, and those are the movies and shows I'm kind of interested in. You know, more the docuseries, TV shows and stuff. Movies not so much, but like the docuseries shows I really love, and that kind of falls into that wheelhouse. A Quiet Place, Day 1, set to release March 8th, 2024. I don't see it having anything to do with John Krasinski, which is interesting. We've been excited about this one ever since producer John Krasinski announced it at CinemaCon. Okay, I stand corrected within the first sentence. A Quiet Place or A Quiet Place Part 2 showed us what happened when alien creatures came to a small, quiet farming town. What happened down the road in New York City. Lupita Nyong and Joseph Quinn are about to find out. This is more of a spin-off than a sequel to the first two Quiet Place movies. So don't expect many familiar faces. The only returning actor who can confirm at this time is
Jimon Husu.
Thank you. Who will?
Hansu. I knew it. They left an N out.
Oh, so they spelled it wrong.
Yeah.
Where'd you go, Fandango? Fandango. Fandango. Who will presumably be giving us a little backstory for the man on the island who played in Part 2. What do you think, Joe?
I am sure that this will be a fantastic movie if you're a fan of The Quiet Place. I have not seen any Quiet Place, so I am freaky dream on this one.
Gotcha. I've heard a lot of good things about The Quiet Place. I'm sure
it's wonderful. I just have no interest.
Well, the thing is, like, when I first, up until this moment right now, I didn't know what the monster in The Quiet Place was. In my mind, I thought it was demons. The fact that now I know it's aliens, I'm not a sci-fi guy, so that kind of turns me off from it. So I'm going to be freaking dream for that reason.
Gotcha. Fair enough.
Untitled Universal Monster movie. So I guess there's no title to a movie that's coming out in April of next year.
How do you?
Unless it's literally called Untitled Universal Monster movie.
Yeah. I haven't been excited about a monster movie from Universal since The Mummy, maybe The Scorpion King, when I was young enough to like that.
Gotcha. Yeah. I'm going to stand with you. Yeah. Even before I read it?
Yep.
Well, just for the hell of it, I'll read it.
Yeah.
We don't have any concrete information on this yet, but we hear this is a unique take on old school thrillers. It's directed by Matt Bentinelli Open and Tyler Gillette, also known as Radio Silence. The guys who directed the recent Scream movies. They know a little something about taking a new look at an old classic and can't wait to see what they've come up with. I don't know why that's number 4 on a list of 15, especially the top 15, when they have no idea what the movie's about. They're just, I guess they're doing it based on the people who are a part of it.
I think I found the same list as you, and I think they're just going in chronological order.
Oh, when they're released on, out or whatever?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, still stupid. Freaky dream. Return to Silent Hill, April 26, 2024. The Silent Hill franchise reboot with the story of a man named James who's lured back to his former hometown with the promise of reuniting with his lost love. The town he returns to appears to have undergone some terrifying changes since he was last there. Or is it that the town is the same, but it's his mental state that's gone off the rails?
Oh, see, that sounds... I have the same problem with this that I have with The Quiet Place, which is that I haven't seen any other Silent Hill, and so I don't have a lot of interest in the franchise. For that reason, I say Freaky Dream. But I am intrigued by the concept of, like, you can never go home again, because either you've changed or home has changed, but either way, you don't fit in anymore. I love that concept and stuff, and so that's kind of very fun. But I'm still Freaky Dream. I just don't... I'm not going to go see this. If it shows up on TV, I might watch it. What about you?
So I've never seen Silent Hill. I'm trying to remember exactly what it is. And for some reason in my mind, I'm getting the image of like, Rob Zombie's movies, like House of a Thousand Corpses and stuff. And like the movies Tremors. Do you remember those? Like the big worm graboid stuff. So to me, if I'm remembering it right, Silent Hill is like is it like the backwood inbred people?
It's I always think of it as
or is that the Hills Have Eyes?
I think that might be the Hills Have Eyes.
Okay, so I'm gonna go Freaky Dream because this is not what I'm thinking. If it was more like Hills Have Eyes, I'm like, you know what, I could kind of get into that. Because gore, I'm kind of into gore, I'm just not into like jump scare thriller shit.
Yeah.
So
I just sent you a screen grab from I don't know if it's from a game or from the movie, but and we'll see if it goes through. You never know. Yeah, but it's the guy with the pyramid on his head and the big sword, and he's just like wrapped in a towel. That's Silent Hill.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm gonna go Freaky Dream though. Like I said, if it was Hills of Eyes, like I'm thinking it is, it sounds pretty cool, but no. Let's go with The Watchers, June 7th, 2024. Dakota Fanning, I haven't heard about her in a while.
Yeah, right.
Is that director's name ring a bell? There's a good reason. Ishana Shyamalan is M. Night Shyamalan's daughter. Oh. After writing and directing for television and serving as a second unit director on her dad's recent films, she's striking out on her own. The Watchers tell a story of a young woman stranded in a remote forest with strangers, trying to survive in a place where mysterious creatures prowl by night. Shyamalan also described it as a gothic fairy tale. It sounds like The Village.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm intrigued, though.
Yeah, me too. And I like Shyamalan for all of his faults. And I'm intrigued that his daughter's getting into the business. I don't know. There's something about like The Watchers. It feels like The Borrowers or The Witches it has that. Well, yeah, the gothic fairy tale thing. I'm in. Scary Dream or freaky scream. It's been so long since we've had a freaky scream. I forgot what it was called.
Right. I go Freaky Scream on it too because I'm interested to see the similarities between her and her dad's work and stuff. Like I said, it sounds a little bit like The Village. I honestly didn't mind The Village.
Yeah, I liked The Village a lot.
Horoscope, June 28th, 2024. A group of young adult friends have their horoscopes read and start dying in ways that relate to what their charts foretold. Are their fates sealed, or can they change what's in the stars?
What a stupid concept. I love it. I'm in. Freaky Scream.
I don't know if I'd get all the way through it, but I definitely Freaky Scream. I want to see like what's it about.
Yeah, get it started. I would love a trailer. A trailer would help me really decide, but yeah, it sounds a lot like Final Destination or whatever. I love all the Final Destinations.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, you know what, this kind of has like not so much like, like they're supposed to die and didn't. It's, you're going to die, so what are they going to do to prevent those deaths from happening? And of course you're going to get like a couple douchebag guys in there who be like, man, this is all just fake. It's a coincidence. And then he just dies instantly, like when that woman got ran over by the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
M. Night Shyamalan is releasing a movie as well called Trapped on August 2nd, 2024. Shyamalan has been pretty tight-lipped about his next movie project. He's only said that Trapped is a psychological thriller, that it takes place at a concert, and that it's different from what you've come to expect from him.
All right. It's different from what we've come to expect.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a big psychological thriller guy. I think I mentioned that several times. But I do like Shyamalan. But what is different? I don't know.
Yeah, right?
I'm going to freaky scream because I got to see what it's about.
Yeah. I was looking to see, I had seen a screenshot with this earlier, not on this website, that was suggesting that like Bautista might be in it. And if I could confirm that, I would definitely be freaky scream. But I think on this one, I'll say freaky scream. I'm intrigued. I would like to see a trailer before I, really decide if I'll go see it. But yeah, I'm intrigued.
Alien Romulus. It's going to be released August 16, 2024. The Alien franchise returns with a standalone feature following young adults who face off with terrifying life forms. We've seen some pretty scary creatures from the other films in the franchise, so we're excited to see what the Aliens Romulus team has cooked up to stop them.
Yeah, I'm just not, it's like with all of these, I'm just not I haven't seen any of the Alien franchise. I haven't seen much of the Predator franchise.
Mm-hmm.
I'm intrigued. Young people from a distant world. Okay. I was hoping, I had heard that like the recent Predator movie that came out last year, Prey, I think it was called, was fantastic.
Okay.
And so I was hoping that like this is Alien but set in ancient Rome. I would be very intrigued by that, and I would say Freaky Scream. Unfortunately for me, with no other information, I'm gonna have to say Freaky Dream because I just haven't watched any Alien movies, so I'm not sure I'd go see this one.
Yeah, I'm definitely on the Freaky Dream boat just because again it's sci-fi stuff. And I'm just not really interested in it.
Yeah.
I've never been like big into aliens. I saw War of the Worlds in theaters, and I'm just like, what the hell am I doing here? And I've seen Predator, and the only reason I enjoyed Predator is because I was watching it with my dad, and it's like one of those nostalgia things. It's like, cool, I get to sit down and my dad thinks I'm old enough now to see this movie and stuff, and
nice.
But really, yeah, other than that, I don't get into like aliens and like outer space shit. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
We're gonna do this last one. Just because this is kind of a cool one to end on, and then we can do the Freaky Tales. Number 10 is Beetlejuice 2.
Yeah, I'm a Freaky Scream. I'm in.
Right? Don't even need the description. Someone somewhere must have said Beetlejuice 3 times because he's back. We'll neither confirm nor deny being that someone. Also back is director Tim Burton, Michael Keaton, Catherine O'Hara, Winona Ryder, composer Danny Elfman. They're joined by the likes of Jenna Ortega, William Dafoe, Justin Theroux, and Monica Bellucci for what promises to be a frightening good time. Side note, in post-production, these movies are having the finishing touches put on them. That's the 11 through 15, but I don't care about that. We're ending here with 10. And obviously, yes, Freaky Scream because it's nostalgia at this point.
Absolutely. And I love they got the same, well, maybe not the same, but they have several of the original cast back. Mm-hmm. I'm about it. I'm in. I really loved the first one. I think it's very fun. So, yeah.
Yeah. As long as it holds up. I want it to come back. I want it to be like, this sequel is no different than the movie that was made before. Like, I don't want it to accommodate for like 2023. I want what it is.
Yeah.
I want dirty, shitty Beetlejuice.
Yeah. My hope is that the original cast wouldn't be coming back if it wasn't at least as good.
Yeah.
Especially since, these are people with like Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder, Catherine O'Hara, all very successful right now.
Oh yeah.
So they kind of have the pick of things. And so hopefully this is something that they're choosing because it's the right time and the right script.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm excited. But when did the original Beetlejuice come out?
Oh, I don't know. Late 80s maybe?
Yeah. Awesome.
Beetlejuice. Yeah, 1988.
All right, perfect. Awesome. Yeah, so those are the top 10, or at least the 10 that we found for 2024. There's 5 more, but we don't care. What we do care about is that the Freak Joe is going to share the next Freaky Tale with us. So, Joe, whenever you're ready, the floor and podcast is yours.
Excellent. So this one is The Last House in C Street by Mrs. Craik. I'm not a believer in ghosts in general. I see no good in them. They come, that is, are reported to come, so irrelevantly, purposelessly, so ridiculously, in short, that one's common sense as regards this world, one's supernatural sense of the other, are alike revolted. Then, 9 out of 10 capital ghost stories are so easily accounted for, and in the 10th, when all natural explanation fails, one who has discovered the extraordinary difficulty there is in all society in getting hold of that very slippery article called a fact, is strongly inclined to shake a dubious head, ejaculating, "Evidence! A question of evidence!" But my unbelief springs from no dogged or contemptuous skepticism as to the possibility, however great the improbability, of that strange impression upon, or communication to, spirit in matter, from spirit wholly immaterialized, which is vulgarly called a ghost. There's no credulity more blind, no ignorance more childish than that of the sage who tries to measure heaven and earth and the things under the earth, with a small 2-foot rule of his own brains. Dare we presume to argue concerning any mystery of the universe? It is inexplicable and therefore impossible. Premising these opinions, though simply as opinions, I am about to relate what I must confess is to me a thorough ghost story. Its external and circumstantial evidence being indisputable, while its psychological causes and results, though not easy of explanation, are still more difficult to be explained away. The ghost, like Hamlet's, was an honest ghost. From her daughter, an old lady who, bless her good and gentle memory, has since learned the secrets of all things, I learned this veritable tale. "My dear," said Mrs. MacArthur to me, it was in the early days of table moving, when young folk ridiculed and elder folk were shocked at the notion of calling up one's departed ancestors into one's dinner table, and learning the wonders of the angelic world by the bobbings of a hat or the twirlings of a plate. "My dear," continued the old lady, "I do not like playing at ghosts." "Why not? Do you believe in them?" "A little." "Did you ever see one?" "Never, but once I heard." She looked serious, as if she hardly liked to speak about it, either from a sense of awe or from fear of ridicule. But no one could have laughed at any illusions of the gentle old lady, who never uttered a harsh or satirical word to a living soul, and this evident awe was rather remarkable in one who had a large stock of common sense, little wonder, and no ideality. I was rather curious to hear Mrs. MacArthur's ghost story. "My dear, it was a long time ago, so long that you may fancy I forget and confuse the circumstances, but I do not. Sometimes I think one recollects more clearly things that happened in one's teens. I was 18 that year, than a great many nearer events. And besides, I had other reasons for remembering vividly everything belonging to this time, for I was in love, you must know." She looked at me with a mild, deprecating smile, as if hoping my youthfulness would not consider the thing so very impossible or ridiculous. No, I was all interest at once. In love with Mr. MacArthur?" I said, scarcely as a question, being at that Arcadian time of life when one takes as a natural necessity and believes as an undoubted truth that everyone marries his first or second love. His or her first love, excuse me. "No, my dear, not with Mr. MacArthur." I was so astonished, so completely dumbfoundered, for I had woven a sort of ideal round my good old friend, that I suffered Mrs. MacArthur to knit in silence for full 5 minutes. My surprise was not lessened when she said with a little smile, He was a young gentleman of good parts, and he was very fond of me. Proud, too, rather. For though you might not think it, my dear, I was actually a beauty in those days. I had very little doubt of it. The slight, lithe figure, the tiny hands and feet. If you had walked behind Mrs. MacArthur, you might have taken her for a young woman still. Certainly, people lived slower and easier in the last generation than in ours. Yes, I was the beauty of Bath. Mr. Everest fell in love with me right there. I was much gratified, for I had just been reading Mrs. Burney's Cecilia, and I thought him exactly like Mortimer Delville. A very pretty tale, Cecilia. Did you ever read it? No. And to arrive at her tale, I leaped to the only conclusion which could reconcile the two facts of her having had a lover named Everest and being now Mrs. MacArthur. Was it his ghost you saw? No, my dear, no. Thank goodness he is alive still. He calls here sometimes. He has been a good friend to our family. Ah! With a slow shake of the head, half pleased, half pensive. You would hardly believe, my dear, what a pretty fellow he was. One could scarcely smile at the odd phrase, pertaining to last-century novels and to the loves of our great-grandmothers. I listened patiently to the wandering reminiscences which still further delayed the ghost story. But, Mrs. MacArthur, was it in Bath that you saw or heard what I think you're going to tell me? The ghost, you know? Don't call it that. It sounds as if you were laughing at it. And you must not, for it is really true. As true as that I sit here, an old lady of 75, and then that I was a young gentlewoman of 18. Nay, my dear, I will tell you all about it. We had been staying in London, my father and mother, Mr. Everest and I. He had persuaded them to take me. He wanted to show me a little of the world, though it was but a narrow world, my dear, for he was a law student, living poorly and working hard. He took lodgings for us near the Temple, in C Street, the last house there, looking on to the river. He was very fond of the river, and often of evenings, when his work was too heavy to let him take us to Ranelagh or to the play, he used to walk with my father and mother and me up and down the Temple Gardens. Were you ever in the Temple Gardens? It's a pretty place now, a quiet, grey nook in the midst of a noise and bustle. The stars look wonderful through those great trees, but still, it is not like what it was then, when I was a girl. Ah, no, impossible. I was in Temple Gardens, my dear, when I remember we took our last walk, my mother, Mr. Everest, and I, before she went home to Bath. She was very anxious and restless to go, being too delicate for London gaieties. Besides, she had a large family at home, of which I was the eldest, and we were anxiously expecting the youngest in a month or two. Nevertheless, my dear mother had gone about with me, taking me to all the shows and sights that I, a hearty and happy girl, longed to see, and entered into them with almost as great enjoyment as my own. But tonight she was pale, rather grave, and steadfastly bent on returning home. We did all we could to persuade her to the contrary, for on the next night but one was to have been the crowning treat of all our London pleasures. We were to see Hamlet at Drury Lane, with John Kemble and Sarah Siddons. Think of that, my dear. Ah, you have no such sights now. Even my grave father longed to go, and urged in his mild way that we should put off our departure. But my mother was determined. At last Mr. Everest said, I could show you the very spot where he stood with the river. It was high water, lapping against the wall, and the evening sun shining on the Southwark houses opposite. He said, it was very wrong, of course, my dear, but then he was in love, and you might be excused. Madam, he said, it is the first time I ever knew you think of yourself alone. Myself, Edmund? Pardon me, but would it not be possible for you to return home, leaving behind for 2 days only Mr. Thwaite and Mistress Dorothy? Leave them behind? Leave them behind? She mused over the words. What say you, Dorothy? I was silent. In very truth, I had never been parted from her in all my life. It had never crossed my mind to wish to part from her, or to enjoy any pleasure without her, till within the last 3 months. Mother, don't suppose But here I caught sight of Mr. Everest and stopped. Pray continue, Mistress Dorothy. No, I could not. He looked so vexed, so hurt, and we had been so happy together. Also, we might not meet again for years, for the journey between London and Bath was then a serious one, even to lovers, and he worked very hard, had few pleasures in his life. It did indeed seem almost selfish of my mother. Though my lips said nothing, perhaps my sad eyes said only too much, and my mother felt it. She walked with us a few yards, slowly and thoughtfully. I could see her now, with her pale, tired face under the cherry-colored ribbons of her hood. She had been very handsome as a young woman, and was most sweet-looking still. My dear, good mother. Dorothy, we will no more discuss this. I am very sorry, but I must go home. However, I will persuade your father to remain with you to the week's end. Are you satisfied? No, was the first filial impulse of my heart, but Mr. Everest pressed my arm with such an entreating look that almost against my will I answered, yes. Mr. Everest overwhelmed my mother with his delight and gratitude. She walked up and down for some time longer, leaning on his arm. She was very fond of him. Then stood looking on the river, upwards and downwards. I suppose this is my last walk in London. Thank you all for the care you have taken of me, and when I am gone home, mind, oh mind, Edmund, that you take special care of Dorothy. These words and the tone in which they were spoken fixed themselves in my mind, first from gratitude, not unmingled with regret, as if I had not been so considerate to her as she to me, afterwards. But we often err, my dear, in dwelling too much on that word. We finite creatures have only to deal with now, nothing whatever to do with afterwards. In this case, I have ceased to blame myself or others. Whatever was, being past, was right to be, and could not have been otherwise. My mother went home the next morning alone. We were to follow in a few days, though she would not allow us to fix any time. Her departure was so hurried that I remember nothing about it, save her answer to my father's urgent desire, almost command, that if anything was amiss she would immediately let him know. Under all circumstances, wife, he reiterated. This you promise? I promise. Though when she had gone, he declared she need not have said it so earnestly, since we should be at home almost as soon as the slow bath coach could take her and bring us a letter. And besides, there was nothing likely to happen. But he fidgeted a good deal, being unused to her absence in their happy wedded life. He was, like most men, glad to blame anybody but himself, and the whole day and the next was cross at intervals with both Edmund and me. But we bore it, and patiently. It will be all right when we get him to the theater. He has no real cause for anxiety about her. What a dear woman she is, and a precious, your mother, Dorothy. I rejoiced to hear my lover speak thus, and though I thought there were hardly ever was young gentlewoman so blessed as I. We went to the play. Ah, you know nothing of what a play is nowadays. You never saw John Kemble or Mrs. Siddons. Though in dresses and shows it was far inferior to the Hamlet you took me to see last week, my dear. And though I perfectly well remember being on the point of laughing when in the most solemn scene it became clearly evident that the ghost had been drinking. Strangely enough, no after events connected therewith, nothing subsequent ever drove from my mind the vivid impression of this first play. Strange also that the play should have been Hamlet. Do you think that Shakespeare believed in what people call ghosts? I could not say, but I thought Mrs. MacArthur's ghost was very long in coming. Don't, my dear, don't do anything but laugh at it. She was visibly affected, and it was not without an effort that she proceeded with her story. I wish you to understand exactly my position that night. A young girl, her head full of the enchantment of the stage, her heart of something not less engrossing. Mr. Everest had supped with us, leaving us both in the best of spirits. Indeed, my father had gone to bed, laughing heartily at the remembrance of the antics of Mr. Grimaldi, which had almost obliterated the Queen and Hamlet from his memory, on which the ridiculous always took a far stronger hold than the awful or sublime. I was sitting, let me see, at the window chatting with my maid, Patty, who was brushing the powder out of my hair. The window was open halfway and looking out on the Thames, and the summer night being very warm and starry, made it almost like sitting out of doors. There was nothing of the awe given by the solitude of a midnight closed room, when every sound is magnified and every shadow seems alive. As I said, we had been chatting and laughing, for Patty and I were both very young, and she had a sweetheart, too. She, like every one of our household, was a warm admirer of Mr. Everest. I had just been half scolding, half smiling at her praises of him, when St. Paul's great clock came booming over the silent river. 11, counted Patty. Terrible late we be, Miss Dorothy, not unlike bath hours, I reckon. Mother will have been in bed an hour ago, said I, with a little self-reproach at not having thought of her till now. The next minute my maid and I both started up with simultaneous exclamation. Did you hear that? Yes, a bat flying against the window. But the lattices are open, Mrs. Dorothy. So they were. There was no bird or bat or living thing about, only the quiet summer night, the river and the stars. I be certain sure I heard it, and I think it was just a bit like somebody tapping. Nonsense, Patty. But it had struck me thus, though I said it was a bat. It was exactly like the sound of fingers against the pane. Very soft, gentle fingers, such as in passing into her flower garden my mother used often to tap outside the schoolroom casement at home. I wonder, did Father hear anything? The bird, you know, Patty, might have flown at this window too? His window too? Oh, Mistress Dorothy. Patty would not be deceived. I gave her the brush to finish my hair, but her hand shook too much. I shut the window, and we both sat down facing it. At that minute, distinct, clear, and unmistakable, like a person giving a summons and passing by, we heard once more the tapping on the pane. But nothing was seen. Not a single shadow came between us and the open air, the bright starlight. Startled I was and awed, but I was not frightened. The sound gave me even an inexplicable delight. But I hardly time to recognize my feelings, much less to analyze them, when a loud cry came from my father's room. Dolly! Dolly! Now my mother and I both had one name, but he always gave her the old-fashioned pet name. I was invariably Dorothy. Still, I did not pause to think, but ran to his locked door and answered. It was a long time before he took any notice, though I heard him talking to himself and moaning. He was subject to bad dreams, especially before his attacks of gout, so my first alarm lightened. I stood listening, knocking at intervals until at last he replied, What do you want, child? Is anything the matter, Father? Nothing. Go to thy bed, Dorothy. Did you not call? Do you want anyone? Not thee. Oh, Dolly, my poor Dolly. He seemed to be almost sobbing. Why did I let thee leave me? Father, you are not going to be ill. It is not the gout, is it? For that was the time when he wanted my mother most, and indeed when he was wholly unmanageable by anyone but her. Go away. Get to thy bed, girl. I don't want thee. I thought he was angry with me for having been in some sort of cause of our delay, and retired very miserable. Patty and I sat up a good while longer, discussing the dreary prospect of my father's having a fit of the gout here in London lodgings, with only us to nurse him and my mother away. Our alarm was so great that we quite forgot the curious circumstance which had first attracted us, till Patty spoke up from her bed on the floor. I hope Master bean't going to be very ill, and that, came for a warning. Do you think it was a bird, Mrs. Dorothy? Very likely. Now, Patty, let us go to sleep. But I did not. For all night I heard my father groaning at intervals. I was certain it was the gout, and wished from the bottom of my heart we had gone home with my mother. What was my surprise then, when, quite early, I heard him rise and go down, just as if nothing was ailing him. I found him sitting at the breakfast table in his travelling coat, looking very haggard and miserable, but evidently bent on a journey. Father, you're not going to Bath? Yes, I be. Not till the evening coach starts, I cried, alarmed. We can't, you know. I'll take a post-chaise, then. We must be off in an hour. An hour? The cruel pain of parting. My dear, I believe I used to feel things keenly when I was young. Shot through me. Through and through. A single hour, and I should have said goodbye to Edmund, one of those heartbreaking farewells when we seem to leave half of our poor young life behind us, forgetting that the only real parting is when there is no love left to part from. A few years, and I wondered how I could have crept away and wept in such intolerable agony at the mere bidding goodbye to Edmund who loved me. Every minute seemed a day till he came in, as usual, to breakfast. My red eyes and my father's corded trunk explained all. Dr. Thwaite, you are not going? Yes, I be, repeated my father. He sat moodily, leaning on the table, would not taste his breakfast. Not till the night coach, surely. I was to take you and Mistress Dorothy to see Mr. Benjamin West, the king's painter. Let kings and painters alone, lad. I be going home to my Dolly. Mr. Everest used many arguments gay and grave, upon which I hung with earnest conviction and hope. He made things so clear always. He was a man of much brighter parts than my father, and had great influence over him. Dorothy, he whispered, help me to persuade the doctor. It is so little time I beg for, only a few hours, and before so long a parting. Aye, longer than he thought, or I. Children, cried my father at last, you are a couple of fools. Wait till you've been married 20 years. I must go to my Dolly. I know there is something amiss at home. I should have felt alarmed, but I saw Mr. Everest smile, and besides, I was yet glowing under his fond look as my father spoke of our being married 20 years. Father, you have surely no reason for thinking this. If you have, tell us. My father just lifted his head and looked me woefully in the face. Dorothy, last night, as sure as I see you now, I saw your mother. Is that all? Cried Mr. Everest, laughing. Why, my good sir, of course you did. You were dreaming. I had not gone to sleep. How did you see her? Coming into the room just as she used to do in the bedroom at home, with a candle in her hand and the baby asleep on her arm. Did she speak? Asked Mr. Everest, with another and rather satirical smile. Remember, you saw Hamlet last night. Indeed, sir. Indeed, Dorothy, it was a mere dream. I do not believe in ghosts. It would be an insult to common sense, to human wisdom, nay, even to divinity itself. Edmund spoke so earnestly, so justly, so affectionately, that perforce I agreed, and even my father began to feel rather ashamed of his own weakness. He, a physician, the head of a family, to yield to a mere superstitious fancy, springing probably from a hot supper and an overexcited brain. To the same cause Mr. Everest attributed the other incident, which, somewhat hesitatingly, I told him. Dear, it was a bird, nothing but a bird. One flew in at my window last spring. It had hurt itself, and I kept it and nursed it and petted it. It was such a pretty, gentle thing. It put me in mind of Dorothy. Did it? Said I, and at last it got well and flew away. Ah, that was not like Dorothy. Thus my father, being persuaded, it was not hard to persuade me. We settled to remain till evening. Edmund and I, with my maid Patty, went about together, chiefly in Mr. West's gallery and in the quiet shade of our favorite temple gardens. And if for those 4 stolen hours of the sweetness in them I afterwards suffered untold remorse and bitterness, I have entirely forgiven myself, as I know my dear mother would have forgiven me long ago. Mrs. MacArthur stopped, wiped her eyes, and then continued, speaking more in the matter-of-fact way that old people speak than she had been doing lately. Well, my dear, where was I? In the Temple Gardens. Yes. Well, we came home to dinner. My father always enjoyed his dinner and his nap afterwards. He had nearly recovered himself now, only looking tired from loss of rest. Edmund and I sat in the window watching the barges and wherries down the Thames. There were no steamboats then, you know. Someone knocked at the door with a message for my father, but he slept so heavily he did not hear. Mr. Everest went to see what it was. I stood at the window. I remember mechanically watching the red sail of a Margate hoy that was going down the river, and thinking with a sharp pang how dark the room seemed, in a moment with Edmund not there. Re-entering after a somewhat long absence, he never looked at me but went straight to my father. Sir, it is almost time for you to start. Oh, Edmund, there is a coach at the door, and, pardon me, but I think you should travel quickly. My father sprang to his feet. Dear sir, indeed there is no need for anxiety now, but I have received news. You have another little daughter, sir, and— Dolly! My Dolly! Without another word, my father rushed away without his hat, leaped into the post-chaise was waiting, and drove off. Edmund! I gasped. My poor little girl, my own Dorothy. By the tenderness of his embrace, not lover-like, but brother-like, by his tears, for I could feel them on my neck, I knew, as well as if he had told me, that I should never see my dear mother any more. She had died in childbirth, continued the old lady after a long pause. Died at night, at the very hour and minute when I had heard the tapping on the window-pane, and my father had thought he saw her coming into the room with the baby on her arm. Was the baby dead too? They thought so then, but afterwards revived. What a strange story. I did not ask you to believe in it. How and why, what it was, I cannot tell. I only know that it was assuredly so. And Mr. Everest? I inquired, after some hesitation. The old lady shook her head. Ah, my dear, you will soon learn how very, very seldom one marries one's first love. After that day, I did not see Mr. Everest for 20 years. How wrong! How? Don't blame him. It was not his fault. You see, after that time, my father took a prejudice against him. Not unnatural, perhaps, and she was not there to make things straight. Besides, my own conscience was very sore, and there were 6 children at home, and the little baby had no mother. So at last I made up my mind. I should have loved him just the same if we had waited 20 years, but he could not see things so. Don't blame him, my dear. Don't blame him. It was as well, perhaps, as things turned out. Did he marry? Yes, after a few years, and loved his wife dearly. When I was about 31, I married Mr. MacArthur. So neither of us was unhappy, you see. At least, not more so than most people. And we became sincere friends afterwards. Mr. and Mrs. Everest come to see me almost every Sunday. Why, you foolish child, you are not crying. I was, but scarcely at the ghost story. The end.
Solid, Joe.
Yeah.
You know, there was a question I wanted to ask you last episode, and I forgot to. But now that I remembered, I'm going to ask you this time. Clearly, when you read this freaky tale here, we get like a full package of narrative from you. You know, like characters and voices and stuff like that. Do you do this stuff when you read to yourself?
Do I? Yeah, I think so.
God, perfect. Solid story.
So.
Great read, Joe.
Thank you.
What are you freaking thinking about?
Oh boy. So there is a show on Netflix called The Fall of the House of Usher. And it is, the full narrative, the full 8 episodes is sort of, loosely based on Edgar Allan Poe's story, The Fall of the House of Usher. But
Excellent.
each individual episode is also based on an Edgar Allan Poe story. So there's like The Telltale Heart and The Pit and the Pendulum, and some other, Murder in the Rue Morgue. And it is excellent. It is so freaking good. I highly recommend it if you like horror. Even if you don't like horror, it's very contemporary, very on the nose about the like opioid epidemic, things like that, and about how rich people seem to get away with everything all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the cast is absolutely fantastic. I highly recommend it. It's called The Fall of the House of Usher. It's about 8 episodes. It's on Netflix, and it's wonderful. I highly recommend. So, what about you? What are you freaking thinking about?
Well, Joe, I'm also freaky thinking about a Netflix show. I haven't started it yet. I just found out about it this morning. But it's called Winona Earp.
Oh, all right.
Have you heard of it?
I think so.
Yeah, I just found out about it today. I was thumbing through TikTok and this clip came up, and after I searched, I found out where it was from. But from my understanding of it, it's a distant relative of Wyatt Earp. His granddaughter is hunting like the demons or the spirits of like the people like Wyatt Earp have taken down or some shit like that.
Oh, interesting.
So it kind of has like a feeling of, ghost or like, ghosts and spirits and stuff, which I do enjoy, but also like it's based out in like the family farm in the area and stuff. I think it's Wyoming. So it has like that feel to it too. So, I'm excited to start it and see how it is. I think there's only 4 seasons of it and it got canceled, and I think there's only like 12 or 13 episodes per season. So it won't take me long to get through it, but I'm excited to kind of see what it's about. And I guess, she like either partners up with or meets Doc Holliday, who made an agreement, for his eternal life many years ago. And that's why he still exists or whatever.
Wild.
But I'm excited to see it and see what kind of episode it is. And hopefully, it's definitely something I enjoy. So
yeah, nice. I love that.
Yeah. Hey, Joe.
Yes.
During this freaky show, our month-long celebration of Halloween, Cartoon Joe kind of takes a sabbatical as you step in and take his place. But, there are listeners out there who do miss Cartoon Joe from time to time, but he's not really gone. So if our listeners still need to catch Cartoon Joe, where can they go?
If you need Cartoon Joe, you can find him over the Geekcast Live podcast at violentpress.com. You can also find him on Facebook, iTunes, Spotify, and Twitter by searching Geekcast Live.
Perfect. Guys, make sure you check out the Freaky Cemetery vlogs that we are releasing over on our YouTube channel, Freakin Studios. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell over there. And, of course, you make sure you follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, just by searching This Freakin' Show, and listen to our podcast wherever you do, on iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, Google Podcast. Wherever you find it, make sure you just subscribe. Give us a rating and review wherever they apply, because that does help us out as well.
That's right.
As always, listeners. Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Joe. Oh, yeah. I appreciate the, it's not the app, is it? Oh, affirmation? Is that what it is?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that works.
Excellent. Yeah. As always, I am Travesty.
And I'm the Freak Joe.
And thank you for tuning in to another episode of This Freaky Show. I'm out.